Sorry, wonderful people. I had to restart the broadcast because I was experiencing some technical, glitches on my end. I don't know if that was the case on your end, but something didn't feel right. So I think our audios are good. They're good, but something just didn't feel right. Something just didn't feel right. So I've had to sort of redo the broadcast. So as you guys rejoin us, allow me to edit this and put it out there for people that are just joining us. But yeah, okay. I think we're set. Anyways, good evening to you all and welcome back to the Football Tribe UG channel. Robert Kesakos is your usual suspect. Welcome back to yet another broadcast on your number one football channel in as far as Premier League football is concerned and beyond. So really, looking forward to this broadcast, waiting for the rest of you to join us. Really waiting for you to join us. But okay, and I need to adjust the setting here so that I don't miss people's messages if they do come through. Anyways, plenty to discuss. Liam Delap to Chelsea. Liam Delap is on the move. Arsenal have kicked off talks with RB Leipzig over Benjamin Sesko. Then we do have news about Gian Gasperini and Antonio Conte, Massimo Allegri, Manchester City, and things in that break. So it's been quite a busy day in regards to transfer speculation and movement and that kind of thing. It's been really hectic. It's been really things have been really moving at a very fast speed. And as we speak, Antonio Conte is increasingly likely to stay with Napoli there. To stay with Napoli. Really. Anyways. So yeah, that's going to formulate the basis of our conversation tonight, transfers, and then yeah, that's going to be the gist and a bit of a debate, because there's a debate that has been introduced on the table today in the aftermath of those Thierry Henry comments that we did witness yesterday. So those comments in which he thought that he was a bit sarcastic about it, about the process of building, and he said it must be a tall building. That's how he put it. And he said Arsenal over the last 2 seasons, 2 or 3 seasons, should have been in at least a cup final, and maybe they should be winning the cup, and compared them to Manchester United, who have played 5 finals in the last 5 years, yes. And of course, they've only won 2 of those and lost the other 3, but that notwithstanding, they've been there. 2021, they were in the finals of the UEFA Europa League, lost that one to Villarreal. They were in the guys. When you join, please do me the absolute honor and favor and click on that like the broadcast. Click on that like button, but more importantly, also consider subscribing to the channel if you're new here. Then go to the comment section and let me know where you're joining us from. It's good to have you on the Football Tribe UG channel. Robert Kesakos is my name, coming to you live from Kampala, Uganda. It's about almost a quarter past the hour of 10 p.m. East African time. But it's a pleasure to have you all on this broadcast. So we do expect to, tackle a lot of news here and there. So again, as mentioning Thierry Henry, and I find it quite interesting the way he put it in the comparison for Manchester United. But then somebody also introduced in another, school of thought in some respect, which I found equally intriguing. And I'm like, okay, this is interesting, because in their arguments, they said that they made some comparisons and say, what would it imply for a team like Arsenal, for a team like Chelsea, if they were to win maybe the Carabao Cup, but then finish fourth on the Premier League table, and then get knocked out at the group stage of the UEFA Champions League? Would that be regarded as success, or by their own standards, it will be a failure? And it got me thinking that maybe silverware is not everything, it's not all. And for those of you that were part of the conversation in the morning, I did talk about Chelsea, and I said that when the season started out, while winning a piece of silverware may have been on the cards for them, their ultimate objective was to get in the UEFA Champions League, and they achieved that. And I went on to say, I think they did, deep down in their hearts, must have celebrated that more than anything, even more than winning the UEFA Conference League last night. So for me, that was the school of thought. That was the background with which I sort of approached that question. And then when, this gentleman, I think there's a certain podcast that I was watching. I do not remember the name of the podcast. So the gentleman introduced that kind of school of thought, and I thought to myself, oh, okay, it can go that way. It can be that way. It can be that you win a title, a trophy in a season, and yet it won't be considered successful because of the kind of title you've won and where you finished in respect to all the other titles that you ought to have participated in. And I found that quite an interesting conversation. I can see John is here. John Joseph says hi. Hi, John Joseph. How are you doing? Welcome to the podcast, and thank you for joining us. Where are you joining us from? John Joseph. Where are you joining us from? Kindly let us know where you're joining us from. So particularly, I found that sort of school of thought quite intriguing and interesting to have. And it sort of opened my mind to an even broader debate. Not that I've not heard of it before. Joseph is from Nigeria. Hi, Joseph. How is Nigeria? Are you from Lagos? Are you from Abuja? Are you from Igbo State? What part of Nigeria? But good to have you, my brother, from Nigeria. I think I'm seeing you here for the first time. You say you're from Nasarawa State. Nasarawa State. Okay, that's good. That's good. I mentioned the other regions because they're the only ones I know about Nigeria. Me coming from Kampala, Uganda. Obviously, I've never been to Nigeria, but it's a country that is familiar from a distance in my respect. But good to have you here. Kindly consider subscribing to the channel, seeing that you're new here, and help us, continue growing on the channel. So again, we're speaking about that sort of comparison. And if you do not mind, kindly let me know down still in the comment section what team you support, in case you're a football fan, and in case you have any questions. So I think that's a broader conversation to have, a broader debate in regards to what progress looks like, in regards to what success looks like, beyond just a conversation, oh, this one won this trophy, that one won that trophy, and for them it's success, because that debate in itself is intriguing. Oh, Joseph supports Chelsea. Good to have a Chelsea fan here. I think he's the first Chelsea fan that we know of publicly, that at least they've said they support Chelsea, that we are getting on the broadcast. It's good to have you, my brother. So with that respect, let's kick things off at Chelsea, where they have agreed to sign Liam Delap from Ipswich Town after informing Ipswich Town that they will activate the 22-year-old England international's release clause, which is at £30 million. Of course, negotiations have gone underway between the clubs in regards to payment terms and that kind of thing, but that deal is as good as done. Only what's left is for Chelsea to agree or to finalize or iron out the the other details on the player side in regards to personal terms. That's according to Fabrizio Romano. Now, Chelsea pull off this deal, snapping it out of the hands of Manchester United. Now, remember, Manchester United, we entered the end of the season with Man United leading the race of the suitors for Liam Delap. Among those, of course, was Chelsea. Newcastle came to the table in the conversation. Everton pitched the player about, with their proposal and that kind of thing. This is our owners making me feel sick. Why are they making you feel sick, Joseph? Let me know what your views are about this pending move for Liam Delap to Chelsea. Let me know, and also give us your thoughts about your success last night in the UEFA Conference League. John Joseph says he doesn't like Liam Delap, and I think he won't be the only Chelsea fan out there that sort of will question this transfer for Liam Delap, because I mean, only 22 years of age, scored 12 goals in the Premier League for Ipswich Town, which was a good return for a striker of 22 years of age, and given the team that he was playing in. But for me, the bigger conversation here is, one, for starters, Chelsea snapped another player out of the hands of Manchester United. Let's run it back to January when Man United wanted to sign Giovanni Quenda from Sporting Lisbon. That's the 17-year-old. Chelsea beat them to that, and they signed the player for about 62 something million pounds to win that race. Yes, 62.5 million pounds. No, it was actually 44 million pounds. Yes, it was 44 million pounds that they spent on signing Giovanni Quenda from Sporting Lisbon, and of course they left him there for the rest of the season on loan, and he will also remain at Sporting Lisbon for next season on loan, and then will join Chelsea in 2026, the summer of 2026. So this is another time that Chelsea are beating Man United to the punch of a player that United are suited to. And then we were told that United were in the driving seat of all this, and suddenly the player has been really snapped out of their hands, simply because, one, Enzo Maresca worked with the player at Man City when he was still at Man City. He knew him well coming from the academy. Man City today, or during the course of this week, objected to their buyback clause because they had the first refusal option, and they declined to take that option, so they're not buying him back. And then what of course, Chelsea have now UEFA Champions League to offer to the table, which the player really, really liked, and that is what partly swayed him and over Manchester United, who do not have European football. John says we need experienced players, not young players. Well, that I would want to agree with you on so many fronts, but also, I don't know if you've noticed, but Chelsea has been really, really trying to integrate Premier League proven players into their team after signing so many players from abroad. So when you look at Romeo Lavia, Moises Caicedo, Pedro Neto, Jadon Sancho, of course, Jadon Sancho wasn't so proven, but by his own measure, but Keenan Drisbury-Hall, they've been trying to blend in players that are from within the Premier League to already those that they already had. When you look at the players that were signed from outside the Premier League, the likes of Benoit Badiashile, the likes of Enzo Fernandez, the likes of Nicolas Jackson, the likes of João Felix, the likes of Noni Madueke, and that cohort. So they're trying to have a combination of both. And when you look at the Premier League right now, in terms of striker profiles, there are not so many that you could really look to sign. You would have to look at Newcastle to try and tempt away Alexander Isak, quite an experienced player in his prime, 25 years of age. That's for the Swedish international squad. I think 23 Premier League goals this season and provided about 6 assists. So, but to price him out of Newcastle would be really, really an expensive venture. And then you look at players like Ollie Watkins. He's 29 years of age. Very, very soon or later he will be turning 30, and we do not know how he's going to progress from there on. So purchasing him for 40 million pounds plus may not sound ideal when you look at his resale value, which would be close to nothing, really. And then, which other strikers are you going to look at? But Erling Haaland, you're not getting him out of Manchester City. Chris Wood, again, is aging, really. Not the best striker out there, even though he's had a very, very brilliant season in which he scored at about 20 or 21 goals with Nottingham Forest this season. So really, I do understand your school of thought, John Joseph, when you say you want experienced players. But with respect to looking at Premier League players, there are not so many strikers. But that notwithstanding, Chelsea are still in the market for another striker, because the reports are that just because they are about to complete the Liam Delap deal does not necessarily imply that they are out of the race to sign Hugo Ekitike, but also Hugo Ekitike from Eintracht Frankfurt. Unfortunately for people like Joseph, Hugo Ekitike is equally 22 years of age. However, his goal scoring profile is higher than Liam Delap in as far as we are concerned. So we all know that Chelsea are linked with the move they are linked with the move to Benjamin Sesko, Victor Gyökeres, and Hugo Ekitike, not to mention Emmanuel Emega. Now, when it comes to Emmanuel Emega, that's a player they want to sign from Strasbourg, a striker from Strasbourg, and leave him there on a season-long loan for next season, and then he joins them in 2026. Like I said in the morning, Chelsea are signing so many players. Any player that is really available, they'll be in for him. They're being now linked to Rodrigo Goes as their marquee signing for this summer. It could happen. Who knows? You cannot rule out Chelsea on anything. But Hugo Ekitike is not really off the books for Chelsea this season, because he did have a wonderful season in the German Bundesliga in 33 appearances, scoring 15 goals and providing 8 assists. That's a goal involvement of 23. That's a goal involvement of 23. When you look at a player who is just 22 years of age, no wonder Liverpool are equally interested in signing him. So really, really, really. However, it's going to be Eintracht Frankfurt are going to demand very, very high fees. It is reported that they are looking for a fee of about 100 million euros if they are to let go of the French international. So, but Chelsea are well still within the conversation for Hugo Ekitike, despite almost having this deal as good as that. According to Fabrizio Romano, he says Liam Delap will sign his Chelsea contract in the next 24 hours as Ipswich Town has authorized medical tests. Man City will get a 30% of the deal as they had a sell-on clause included in agreement with Ipswich Town, and a buyback clause won't be activated. Delap will join Chelsea. That is what he told us about. That's what he told us about Liam Delap in his last post. So with that said, that's the Liam Delap story has really, really dominated the news in as far as transfers are concerned today. But the other news that has been quite crucial during the course of the day has been Antonio Conte. Of course, we know at the start of this week we did report to you that there was rumors or speculation or reports that he could leave Napoli after guiding them to their fourth Scudetto in history. And those rumors were quite substantiated. However, they came out on Monday, but then the following day they were meant to meet Pope Leo the 14th, and they did meet him at Vatican. After that, he did have a meeting with the Napoli president, that is De Laurentiis. It was regarded to be a successful meeting, and in that meeting, I think they had this, some discussions and reached certain agreements to increase his salary, spoke about recruitment for the summer, and Napoli are really, really strong out there because they want to sign Kevin De Bruyne. That's the 33-year-old Belgian international leaving Man City at the end of his contract on June 30th. They want to sign Jonathan David. That's the striker, 25-year-old striker from Canada. who has been at Lille, did score about 16 goals in the French League One this season. They want to sign Jordan Sancho for Manchester United. They attempted to sign him in January. That deal didn't go through, but they could come back for him. So they're really making big moves in the market. And last we heard about the deal regarding Kevin De Bruyne. He did state to Napoli that he would really love Antonio Conte to stay in charge for if he is in need to join them in Naples. So, and according to, again, Fabrizio Romano, he says Napoli president De Laurentiis meets Antonio Conte with the club increasingly confident to keep him. Of course, they want him to to increase his salary, and they want to show him an ambitious plan for the summer in regards to player recruitment, especially because they had a very short squad this season, but also they're going to be in the UEFA Champions League next season. So they want to, he's a manager that wants his team to compete on all fronts, to compete for all major trophies. Never mind that he's never won the UEFA Champions League, because, yeah, he's never won it, but he is one of the most successful managers as far as the Italian Serie A is concerned, having won 5 Scudettos, 3 with Juventus, and then 1 with Inter Milan, and another with AC Napoli. So that is the news regarding Napoli. Away from Napoli, but still in Italy, AC Milan are set to appoint Maximiliano Allegri as their replacement for Sergio Conceição. I remember they are parting ways with Sergio Conceição at the end of the season, and they are replacing him with the former Juventus manager in Massimiliano Allegri. And according to Fabrizio Romano, he says Maximiliano Allegri has just signed in as a new AC Milan manager. Here we go, meeting right now with Giorgio Flani, Terra and Allegri, and Giovanni Beracchini, with all contracts being sealed. Allegri is back with the club. Allegri is back to the club with agreement in place to proceed with a new project. Now, remember, AC Milan had a not so good season by their own standards, by their own caliber of a club. They finished 8th on that Italian Serie A table. And with that in mind, they looked, one of the things they looked at changing out was making a managerial change, and they looked to move on Sergio Conceição, formerly at FC Porto, and now they're bringing in the experienced Massimo Allegri, who won the Scudetto multiple times with Juventus. So really, really quite interesting. And then still in the Italian Serie A, SC Roma are in talks with Gian Piero Gasperini to take on as the new manager at AC Roma, and that's after he part ways with Atlanta after a period of 9 years with the club, during which he won them at the UEFA Europa League. That was last year when they beat up against Bayer Leverkusen by 3-0 in the finals. And AC Roma management and Gasperini did have a meeting today to complete the agreement between the two parties and for him to become the next manager. Remember, AC Roma this season completed it with the legendary I forget his name, the former Leicester City manager. For some reason, his name. Anyway, if you do remember his name, do write it for me down in the comment section because it has slipped. Yes, Claudio Ranieri. They did complete the season with Claudio Ranieri, who they had to pull out of retirement to sort of assist them through the season, and he did quite incredibly well, guiding them to sixth place finish on that table, and they qualified for the UEFA Europa League. In as far as Italian football is concerned, they finished 5th, in fact, with 69 points, just a point behind Juventus. They were really, really pushing for a top 4 finish to try and qualify for the UEFA Champions League, but they did stumble, and I think they lost it somewhere. They lost a game in between there. I think, was it against Atlanta? I don't seem to remember really well. but they lost a game that sort of cost them a place in the UEFA Champions League. Yes, they lost to Atlanta by 2-1. That's the game that I really thought that cost them that slot, that fourth slot on for those qualifying for the UEFA Champions League next season. And so they ended up in the Europa League where they will be playing next season. But he really did well, Claudio Ranieri, in terms of helping SC Roma finish the season strongly, and it was quite impressive to see, because pulling him out of retirement and giving him the job, many people had concerns. And while they had their concerns, it goes without saying that he proved them wrong, and he delivered. He delivered really on the job. And while that is there, they now look to move on, because he said his goodbyes. He said his goodbyes to the team, and now they are turning to the former Atalanta manager in Gianni Piero Gasperini, who I think is really an exciting manager. He does play very exciting football. For those of you that do follow the Italian Serie A as much as I often sometimes do, so really, I remember them going on a 19-game unbeaten run, and that was the resurgence of the AC Roma side that many had really counted off, in as far as finishing the season well would be was concerned. So anyways, that is at that as far as the Italian Serie A is concerned. So the managers are switching places now. Before Atlanta confirmed, okay, before Ranieri before Gian Gasperini made this move, there were reports linking Massimo Allegri with a move to Napoli should Conte have left. But now those died down as soon as the Laurentiis sat on the table with Antonio Conte. Then the other managerial move is going to be for Stefano Pioli. Now Stefano Pioli is in the Saudi Pro League with Al Nassr, and now Atlanta are looking at him as a potential replacement for Gian Gasperini. So they're looking at him as the replacement for Gasperini. He's been at Al Nassr. That's the team where Cristiano Ronaldo plays his football. Remember, he helped AC Milan win the Scudetto in 2022. Yes, in 2022, and he moved on. Now Atlanta want to bring him back to Italian football. They want to bring him back to Italian football. Let's wait and see. Let's wait and see how that transpires. Speaking of Al Nassr, they are interested in the services of Liverpool's Luis Diaz. They want to sign the 28-year-old Colombian international from Liverpool, because he has still has about 2 years left to his contract. No, 2 years left to his contract, I think. And the club are yet to start negotiations over a potential renewal for his contract, although that rumor has been floated around that they could look to renew his contract. And then the same side are also interested in the services of Darwin Núñez from Liverpool. So Al Nassr are trying to really strengthen their squad. They're also trying to, the sporting director did say that they are in conversations with Cristiano Ronaldo over a contract renewal, because his current contract does run until June 30th. That's next month. And then there are reports linking their rivals in Al Hilal with a potential move for Cristiano Ronaldo, purportedly on a short-term contract to allow Ronaldo participate in the FIFA Club World Cup. Now, FIFA would want that to happen. FIFA would want a club to sign Cristiano Ronaldo so that he can feature in the FIFA Club World Cup, for the simple reason being because that would make good news. It gets the tournament good publicity, and then it brings back that competition between Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. It brings back that conversation. So FIFA would really like that. Paris 20 Hi, how are you doing? Thank you for joining us on the broadcast. Is it IMAX? Is that how you pronounce your first name? Is it IMAX or AirMax? I think it's AirMax Paris 20. Apologies if I mispronounced your name, but it's good to have you on the broadcast. Kindly do me the favor and like the broadcast, but also consider subscribing to the channel, seeing that I'm seeing you here for the first time. You're new here, but it's good to have you on the podcast. So, like I was saying, FIFA would really love the idea of Cristiano Ronaldo featuring at the FIFA Club World Cup that is going to be played in the United States, starting 15th June. That's next month until I think 13th July. 32 teams involved. Inter Miami, I think, will be playing in the opening game. So because they want all that news that comes with, Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi, the coverage that comes with those two being in the same competition after so many years of European domination and competition. So they would really love that. So Al Hilal have been linked with a potential move for Cristiano Ronaldo. Then there's another team called Botafogo from Brazil that have equally been linked with a potential move for Cristiano Ronaldo, again on a short-term contract to see if he can feature at the FIFA Club World Cup. Of course, we cannot rule out his former clubs like Juventus, like Real Madrid, who are equally all going to be participating in that tournament. So there's that. But Stefano Pioli could end up back in Italian football with Atlanta. So we'll keep our tabs on that news as well and see how it advances or progresses in the coming few days. Then, yes, just briefly, here's what Al Nassr director had to say about Cristiano Ronaldo. When asked, he said, "We are still in negotiations with Cristiano Ronaldo over a new deal. Hopefully, we can find a solution on a renewal." He went on to add that Cristiano Ronaldo's presence from the beginning is a national project. He's a huge phenomenon in the history of football. He has helped the league grow. We are in contact to renew. We are in contact to renew his contract and hope he continues with us. I can see Max Eve. Is that Max Eve? Is that how you pronounce your name? Hi, how are you? Good to have you on the broadcast. Max, no, it's actually Max 7. Max 7. Hi, Max 7. Apologies for the mispronunciation of your name. I got mixed up with the caps lock and, the caps locked letters there. Max 7. Good to have you on the broadcast. I think I'm seeing you here for the first time, but it's a pleasure having you. Just let me know what country are you joining us from, and in any case, what team do you support? But as you answer those simple questions, kindly also do me the favor and like the broadcast, but also more importantly, please consider subscribing to the channel since you're new here. Just do me that simple favor, that act of kindness, and subscribe to the channel, but also like the broadcast. So those were the comments. I mean, we all knew it from the onset when Cristiano Ronaldo made that move from Man United to Al Nassr. It was a PR move, a football move to grow the Saudi Pro League in the build-up to the FIFA World Cup 2030 that they will be hosting, and that kind of thing. So remember, after FIFA World Cup 2026 in the USA, the next FIFA World Cup will be, it's actually 2034. It's 2034 because the 2030 edition is going to be hosted by 3 countries: Morocco, Portugal, and Spain. Morocco, Portugal, and Spain. And then, however, first few games of that FIFA World Cup will be played in South America. I think Paraguay and Uruguay or Argentina. Some games will be played there before the main tournament is brought back. You say Ronaldo will win the World Cup. I mean, whether he wins it, that remains to be seen, but at least he wants to continue playing, even though he's already 40, and then be in contention to be part of the Portuguese national team come next year when they make it to the World Cup in the United States. We all know Roberto Martinez, I think, seems to appreciate his presence around the team, at least publicly, by saying he's a leader in the team and that kind of thing. And of course, his prowesses are nothing to be questioned when it comes to goal scoring, even though he's aging and is far from what his pace used to be. But somebody really put a question to me in one of our broadcasts, not too far back, that what did I think about Cristiano Ronaldo retiring? Is it time for him to retire? And the simple answer was yes, but for the ambitions that he still has as a player, I mean, he is going to continue to play. Maybe he retires at 42, maybe he retires at 44, who knows? There's a Japanese player who played football until his 50s. So really, we can't rule out anything. He loves being on the pitch. He loves to compete. Of course, the player we knew in 2008, 2009, 2014 is no longer the same player. He's really, really moved away from being that player. But he still relishes being on the pitch and competing at the highest level possible that is available to him. This season, they finished third on the Saudi Pro League table. So, but let's see where his fate lies in as far as the future goes. That's for Chelsea. For Cristiano Ronaldo. And then I think we've tackled most of those topics. Let's move on to Manchester City, because Manchester City are in the market for assistant coaches. Now that is after their assistant coaches they had their contracts expire. That's for two of them had their contracts expire. That's for Joan Maliro, and then Inigo Dominguez. Their contracts expired and they will be leaving Man City, or they have left Man City with the end of the season. And then Carlos Vicente has left Man City to join SC Braga in Portugal as their head coach. So Manchester City are looking to replace those three assistant coaches. Of course, Joan Lilo was Pep Guardiola's deputy. And now, among those that they are looking to replace them with include Habib Koro Toure, the former Arsenal defender who also played for Man City for 4 years and won the Premier League with Man City, by the way. That was in 2011. Was it 2011? No. Yes, 2011, 2012, that season, when Roberto Mancini helped them win the league title on the final day of the season. So then Achu is back with us. Hi Achu, how are you doing today? Good to have you back on the broadcast. Kindly do us the absolute usual favor of liking the broadcast, but much appreciated for always, sparing the moment to tune in. Thank you for the love and support. So Man City are weighing. So like I was saying, Kolo Toure was part of that Man City winning squad that were under the charges of Roberto Mancini. And then the other, of course, he went on to have coaching stints or to be part of the backroom staff for Brendan Rodgers when he was at Celtic. Then when he left Celtic, he came with him to Leicester City and they won the 21 FA Cup final. I think they beat Man City by goal to nil in the final. That goal scored by Yuri Tillemans. And then he left Leicester City and had a short stint with Wigan Athletic, where he was head coach, although it was for a very short spell, and then he was sacked. Then ever since then, of course, he then moved back to Man City and has been an assistant to the under-18 head coach. So he is a contender to be part of Pep Guardiola's coaching staff. The other contender is Pep Lijnders. Now, for those of you that don't know Pep Lijnders was part of Jurgen Klopp's coaching staff at Liverpool. And you remember the eye, the brain, and then Pep Lijnders was part of that. So he was part of Liverpool when they were winning the UEFA Champions League in 2019, beating up against Tottenham Hotspur in the finals. Those goals scored by Mo Salah and Divock Origi. And then he was part of the still Liverpool when they were winning the the Premier League title in 2020, and then only left Liverpool just 12 months ago when Jurgen Klopp, stepped away from the team. When he stepped away, he had a coaching stint with the team whose name I can't recall, but he was sacked in December and put on gardening leave. He was sacked in December and put on gardening leave. So he does return and is in contention. He's in contention to be, yes, he joined Red Bull Salzburg. Yes, he was the head coach for Red Bull Salzburg. And he was fired in December due to a poor run of results and put on gardening leave. And now he is in consideration to become Manchester City's assistant coach there for Pep Guardiola. Let's wait and see who Pep Guardiola chooses among his ranks. There are also consideration for the two coaches of the under-21 who are going to be part of Pep's, managerial team that will be guiding the team or managing the team or manning the team through the FIFA Club World Cup that is going to be in the United States of America. So that's the news regarding Pep Guardiola and his backroom staff or coaching staff. So he's looking to, switch things up in as far as we are concerned on that regard. Then, in the work of Liam Delap joining Chelsea, pending medicals and signing the paperwork, Ipswich Town have also approached Chelsea over striker McGahey. McGahey has represented Chelsea on a couple of occasions, especially in the UEFA Conference League, and he did score a couple of goals, including one game where he scored a brace. Chelsea were playing so many teams, I do not know from where, very many local teams down there, literally in the trenches. No disrespect to those teams. They're just not I'm just not familiar with them, but some of those teams. So the deal is totally separate from that of Liam Delap, but they do want him. They do want McGahey on a season-long loan. That's for the preference of the manager in Kian McKenna at Ipswich Town. Then Everton did activate the 15 million euro buy option for Charlie Alcaraz from Flamengo with 3 million euros in expected add-ons. So that deal is becoming permanent. Then the other key news as we wound up the day was regarding Arsenal with a move for Benjamin Sesko. Now, over the course of this week, we've had all reports that Arsenal failed talks with Victor Yokeres's agents and over possible deal and that kind of thing. Yes, those reports have been there in Portugal all week. Now, according to Fabrizio Romano, Arsenal have started moving initial concrete talks for Benjamin Sesko deal. He's always been high on recruitment team management. Mikel Arteta list with attempts to get a deal done, but rejected by RB Leipzig in May 2024 and then in January. Now, again, we spoke about this in the morning. Arsenal did approach RB Leipzig last summer to try and sign Benjamin Sesko. RB Leipzig rebuffed those offers. They spoke to the player, pitched him the project, and the player ended up staying with RB Leipzig, extended his contract with a gentleman's agreement, as they often reported, that he would leave this summer if the right offer came for him. Now, maybe fortunately or unfortunately for him, or maybe fortunately for him and unfortunately for RB Leipzig, they did not qualify for Europe for the first time since 2016-2017, which literally made it as some form of guarantee that he will be leaving the club this summer. And Arsenal, after expressing their interest unsuccessfully last summer, they went back in January to try and sign him. Again, RB Leipzig rebuffed those moves, saying he was a key member of the squad. They wanted to try and qualify for. They wanted him to help them to try and qualify for Europe, but that did not happen. And so, because it did not happen, it sort of put him. Arsenal chose to step back because they didn't want to sort of sever their relationship with RB Leipzig when very well knowing that they could go back in the summer. and tried to make a move for the Slovenian striker. Only 21 years of age, still developing, but he's spoken so highly of. This season scored 13 goals in 33 appearances. That's in the German Bundesliga, and provided 5 assists. So that's an overall goal involvement of 18 goals only. But he's only 21 years of age. He reminds me of Alexander Isak at Real Sociedad when he was playing alongside Martin Odegaard, of course, Zubi Mendy, Mikel Merino, and those kinds of players. He reminds me of that group of Real Sociedad team. And here we are. Again, it's been widely reported that after Alexander Isak, he came second on Arsenal's list because they've done a lot of scouting work around him. And then until recently, perhaps around September, Victor Gyökeres was never really a concrete option for Arsenal. But again, let's wait and see. Now, again, just to repeat this, the debate between Benjamin Sesko and Victor Gyökeres will always be one that splits Arsenal fans, because Gyökeres is literally quote unquote in his prime, although, you know, the Portuguese league is looked at as a lesser league as compared to the German Bundesliga and that kind of thing. So, but it's going to be a never-ending debate until Arsenal decide who to sign or who they eventually end up with. So let's wait and see. It's sort of hard to imagine, or almost unthinkable, but not impossible, that they would end up signing both strikers in Benjamin Sesko and Victor Gyökeres. So again, let's wait and see how everything does transpire over the course of this summer. Excuse me. So that is that in waiting. So Arsenal have started concrete talks with Leipzig with Benjamin Sesko over a potential deal. Now, again, there were reports suggesting that he could cost Arsenal up to about 93 million pounds. That's about 110 million euros. That would be quite the financial outlay for such a young striker that is yet to prove himself. Let's be honest, he's yet to prove himself, especially at the high level. But again, we'll wait and see how everything does spun out in regards to that transfer. And then of course, Angel Di Maria, after leaving Benfica at the end of the season, has signed as a new Rosario Central player. That is back in his home country of Argentina. After a fantastic international career, the World Cup winner Angel Di Maria returns home. I mean, one of those kind of less talked about players that has really blessed the footballing world. So anyways, that's at Liverpool. Milos Kake's talks continue. Of course, Florian Wirtz, those talks continue as well. But let's wait and see how things do, where things will end up. But Liverpool are growingly confident. They are growingly confident over the signing of Florian Wirtz. Although, in the very latest, at least in the course of today, we've seen so many reports bringing Real Madrid in the conversation. And from what like I said in the morning, from what I personally gather, it's because of the relationship between him and his former boss in Xabi Alonso, who is now the head coach at Real Madrid. That's how I look at it. That's how I see it. Then Liverpool are going up a potential move for Paris Saint-Germain forward Goncalo Ramos. That's the 23-year-old. Is by no means at top of the club's wish list, but under consideration. Remember, Liverpool are going to be competing with Chelsea for the potential signature of Hugo Ekitike. So again, we wait for that. We wait to see when that happens, or if that happens anyway in the near future. So we'll keep our eyes on that as well, on that story, and see where it lands. But Liverpool will certainly be in the market for another striker. And again, if Unfortunately, today the Liverpool fan, the usual suspect in Mariam Omoto, is not here with us to indulge us with any conversation regarding Liverpool. But let's see where that conversation does end. Then Chelsea are in talks with Jadon Sancho over a new deal that would see them trigger an obligation to buy from Manchester United of up to £25 million. Now, up until yesterday, we thought Jadon Sancho had played his last game in a Chelsea jersey, but it looks like that conversation is not over yet. It looks like the conversation is not over yet, because this is according to Ben Jacobs of Give Me Sport. He says Chelsea are in talks with Jadon Sancho over a new deal that would see them trigger an obligation to buy from Manchester United of up to £25 million. Club preference is for Sancho to stay and adjust his wage to fit within Chelsea's incentive-driven structure. Discussions don't yet guarantee Sancho will remain, but reveal a willingness to find a solution. Should terms not be agreed, Chelsea will pay £5 million penalty fee of returning Sancho to Manchester United. Looks like there's a glimmer of hope there. There's a glimmer of hope there that things could happen. Then central deal makers have proposed Ronaldo renews at Al Nassr, but first goes on loan to Al Hilal for the World Cup. Unclear if Ronaldo is open to this, while Al Hilal would prefer to add Victor Osimhen. Complicated situation with clarity expected in the next few days. Again, we've spoken about Al Hilal here and their desires to get a new manager. They've looked at Simone Inzaghi at Inter Milan. They've considered Marco Silva of Fulham. He chose to stay with Fulham. They've spoken to Bournemouth's Andoni Iraola. It's reported that he rebuffed their approaches and that kind of thing. So remember, Al Hilal are under the charges of the Brazilian coach Jorge Jesus. So that is also there as well. In terms of the gossip in terms of transfer gossip, of course, again, we discussed majority of this in the morning. We're bringing Real Madrid in the conversation for Florian Bates. We discussed Mark Guehi, who is being targeted by Newcastle, as well as Chelsea. They all want to sign him, but Chelsea also on their shortlist. They do have Gerard Braithwaite. That's the defender from Everton. And again, we'll keep tabs on that. Then the goalkeeper, Liverpool goalkeeper, Kaumain Kelleher, they are the Ireland international, only 26 years of age, could be destined for a £20 million move to Brentford. Now, what is pending is Brentford want the green light from Liverpool, and then they will give the green light to Mark Flecken, that's their goalkeeper, to join Bayer Leverkusen for an estimated fee of about 14 to 16 million euros for the 31-year-old Dutch goalkeeper. And then we've spoken about Bayern Munich's interest in Liverpool's Cody Gakpo and that kind of thing. That's according to Florian Plettenberg, who works with Sky Germany. And then Bournemouth fullback Milos Kakes, linking to Liverpool. We talked about that at great length. And then the agent, then Marcus Rashford's agent has held talks with Barcelona's director Indeco of a potential move for the 27-year-old England international, who Manchester United value at £40 million. At £40 million. So again, we'll wait to see if that deal can go through. Then, yes, then this is according to that. Again, this is about Arsenal. When we were speaking about Benjamin Sesko, that they must pay about £92.5 million. So if they are to get him. Anyways, that was as far as the speculation went throughout the course of the day. But I do feel, and Manchester United fans I really want to hear from you on this one. I do feel that it's a blessing in disguise for Liam Delap to be joining Chelsea over Manchester United. But his desires of wanting to play in the UEFA Champions League and that kind of thing, aside from that, again, United would be putting their goal scoring responsibilities for a striker in a 22-year-old, and yet we've seen Rasmus Højlund fail like that. We've seen Joshua Zirkzee, all players within the same age bracket, literally fail like that. Whether Joshua Zirkzee could, break through next season remains to be seen, but they've struggled. They've really struggled. And who says that Liam Delap wouldn't have struggled at Man United? And United, I think, do need that experienced, striker who is going to bang in the goals, but also try and, educate these young strikers to try and show them the ropes of the game to, so that it's not entirely on their shoulders to try and score goals for Manchester United. Now, United scored only 44 goals last season, and it should be out for because when you look at players like Chris Wood, he scored 20. I'm not saying United should go for Chris Wood. Brian Mbeumo scored 20 Premier League goals and provided 7 assists. He has been linked with a professional move to Manchester United, and apparently the deal would cost them only £50 million because of his contract situation. And I sit there wondering that, as an Arsenal supporter, why are Arsenal not making a move for him? Premier League proven goal scorer, hard worker. I think one of the players that made the most runs in the Premier League, covers a lot of ground, really does puts in the shift when it comes to defensive duties and that kind of thing, really. And yet, Arsenal, they are being linked with the potential move to Leroy Sané. Arsenal, aren't you tired of signing players out of their prime? Haven't you burnt your fingers enough with Raheem Sterling this season, William Bogus a couple of seasons ago, David Luiz? He wasn't that bad, but he was out of his prime. And all those kinds of players with whom you tried it out and it hasn't worked. You want to try it one more time with Leroy Sané? I hope it's just, his agent trying to leak news into the media to try and get Bayern Munich back on the table to give him better terms for his, for his player and that kind of thing. But otherwise, because there were also reports that Galatasaray are willing to take Leroy Sané and guarantee about 25 million euros in some wage expectations over a course of 2 years, a 2-year contract. So again, let's, we'll keep our eyes peeled to that and see where that conversation leads. But in as far as transfer gossip and speculation and concrete reports are concerned, that has been the gist of the day in regards to some of your favorite teams. Of course, Real Madrid are in the market. Do want to sign a midfielder and have been linked with a potential move for Angel Stiller. That's the midfielder at Stuttgart. So we wait. Let's wait and see. Now, this is from a couple of days ago that because Florian Plettenberg was the first to reveal the talks that Arsenal were in concrete talks with RB Leipzig's Benjamin Sesko. That was on May 23rd. I think, was that a Monday? No, not a Monday. It was that was last week on Friday. And now he comes back to say Arsenal and Benjamin Sesko deal on. Mikel Arteta wants him. That's Florian Wirtz. Sorry, that's Florian Plettenberg reporting for Sky Sport Germany. So that deal is on. Again, we wait to see. But he also did confirm that Delap transfer does not affect the potential move for Chelsea going in for Hugo Ekitike. So that one is equally on. Let's wait and see where the conversation leads. Then Real Madrid, I think last I checked, had reached an agreement with Benfica over the transfer of Alvaro Carreras. That's the left back, the Spanish left back, who they are trying to sign. Again, we'll keep you updated in regards to how that deal progresses with in that respect. And then host Stefan is now the new head coach of Werder Bremen. He did sign a 3-year contract with the German side, and yeah, only 56 years of age. Let's wait and see how he does perform next season. But it will be quite interesting. But Real Madrid want to also prepare the squad in preparation for the FIFA Club World Cup. Same goes Man City, who are interested in signing Dutch midfielder Tijan Reinders from AC Milan. Man City are also in talks with Leonis Rancheki to see if they can get a deal for him as the number kind of 10 player. And then they also want to sign Ryan Atnori from Wolverhampton Wanderers. They are also looking to sign Tino Livramento from Newcastle. They were being linked with the potential move to Joan Garcia. That's the Espanyol goalkeeper who Arsenal are also targeting, as well as Aston Villa. In the wake of news that Emiliano Martinez could be among those that may leave Villa Park this season. Reports regarding Morgan Rogers have sort of cooled down in recent times because he was being linked with a potential move away from Villa Park, valued at anywhere between 70 to 90 million pounds for the young winger or attacking midfielder. Chelsea and Arsenal being mentioned in those conversations. So, guys, do not mind when you hear, Arsenal, Chelsea, Man United, Man City being mentioned in the same conversations for almost the same players. Usually, that's how it plays out and that kind of thing. Then, of course, there's going to be a clean sweep at Man City. That pretty much we do expect. Kevin De Bruyne out, Kyle Walker, perhaps Ilkay Gundogan, Jack Grealish, John Stones, Mateo Kovacic, Calvin Phillips, who has spent the last 1.5 seasons on loan to West Ham United and Ipswich Town, respectively. And that kind of thing. So really, really interesting to see how Man City also advanced. Like I said, we do have a video about Manchester City. They could turn out to be unstoppable next season if everything they are planning goes the way they wish it to be in as far as this summer transfer window is concerned. But that video will be dropping tomorrow at 9 a.m. So keep your eyes peeled to Football Tribe UG. It will be dropping and you will be able to catch it. Then what else have we not discussed in as far as transfers are concerned? Because I think we've tackled a majority of the conversation. We've tackled Arsenal's, attempts to try and sign these edgy players that we do not want anything to do with and that kind of thing. But let's wait and see. Let's wait and see. Anyways, guys, it's been 1 hour of us doing this. It's been a pleasure having you all, those that managed to join us. At you, Max 7, thank you all that were with us. John Joseph, it was a pleasure having you. I hope you did subscribe. Air Max Pro, Air Max Paris 20, thank you for being part of today's broadcast. Much appreciated for the love and support. Have yourselves a wonderful night, guys. I will see you tomorrow morning at around 10:30 a.m. or 10 sharp. Anywhere between that, and we'll be in the conversation regards of updates from the world of transfers and debates. Stay blessed and have yourselves a wonderful night. Bye-bye.